What is going on, guys? Season 2, episode 15, conference recap, and a little convo with freshman Andrew Binni, 125 pounds. EIWAs, man. It was a great weekend. We finished second overall as a team. All 10 guys placed in the top 6. So we have a 12-team conference. Navy, ourselves, and Drexel. We're the only teams to get all 10 guys to get on the podium and not get kicked out of the tournament or, lose 2 matches. And then, one step further, we didn't have anybody place lower than 6th, which is incredible. And it's hard to compare historically. Like, if this was our best EIWA showing, it's hard to compare to historical events because the EIWA has changed so much in recent history. Excuse me. If you're unfamiliar or just didn't know, last year was the first year that the Ivies created their own conference for wrestling. So we didn't have them last year. We don't have them this year. But still, second place overall in the team score is phenomenal, especially bouncing back after a disappointing weekend against Army 2 weeks ago. The guys responded really well. We had a couple head-to-heads with Army, and they all went our way minus a few. But we got back one at heavyweight where Spencer beat their heavyweight for third. And it was literally the last match of the tournament. And if you were there, if you were watching, it was a pretty exciting match. And it almost, being there, I could feel all the eyes just watching third and fourth. There was nobody watching the first place match. So at least that's the way it felt to me, where I was sitting and standing, but and watching. But it was great to just see Spencer, respond from that loss 2 weeks ago and get that win and place higher than the Army guy for third. And so we took second, had 135.5 team points. Army came in fourth, and we beat them by 18.5 team points. I think it went Lehigh, us, Bucknell, and then Army. So not only did we beat them, we beat another team in front of them. So I think the guys just wrestled way sharper. Obviously, I wish everybody could have seen the performance that we showed this weekend versus the one. Like, I wish the guys had performed this well a couple weeks ago at an alumni hall, and that's just the way it is sometimes. But nonetheless, we had a great showing. As a result, we had 4 automatic qualifiers. Andrew Binni, who was the 3 seed at 125, upset the 2 seed in the semifinals and earned his automatic bid to Cleveland at 125 pounds. Andrew's a freshman. He's had a very consistent year, a really good in-conference record. He did get caught in the Army match 2 weeks ago. Besides that one, though, Andrew's been rock solid and had a very solid, consistent season. I think he's 19-7 on the year. And obviously, a freshman qualifying for nationals is just huge because, we're all excited to have a young team and have guys that are going to keep coming back and getting better over the next couple of years. So as a qualifier, as a freshman, that's huge, especially at 125 pounds, which we haven't done in a while. So very awesome for us. Caden Ricciardi at 141 pounds was the 2 seed, ended up finishing second, losing to Luke Stanich, who's number 5 in the country in the finals. Ricciardi had a great tournament, beat the Army kid, Basil. I'm not sure how you say his name, but if you guys watched or were there for the duel, that was an exciting back and forth. And Ricciardi ended up catching Basil in a cradle and getting the pin, which was electric and exciting for the duel. This one was a more tactical, strategic match, and he ended up winning this one 5-3. So little, it was a little craftier. He had to be a little smarter. There was no feet to back moment. It was a very technical match, and just fun to watch. A lot of action in that 5-3 bout. Danny Wask was our third qualifier at 174. Danny went in as the 2 seed due to his loss to Tackett's of Bucknell earlier in the year. So he ended up facing Carter Bear of Binghamton, and just wasn't the best match for him. But he responded really well the next day and finishing third in the tournament for the conference, earning his automatic bid. Obviously excited to get him back to the national tournament and hopefully improve upon his 8th place finish last year, which he is way more than capable of doing. So super excited for him to go out and compete, and excited for you guys to watch him get on the podium again this year. Now, last one, freshman 285, Spencer Lenozga. I just talked about him beating the Army kid for third. At 285, they had 4 spots, automatic bids to the national tournament. So Spencer had a tough loss to Lehigh in the semis again. And then, the semis weren't a great round for us. I think we had 8 guys in the semis, and only 2 of them advanced to the finals. So Binni and Ricciardi. But a lot, we had everybody responded well and bounced back, with 5 guys taking third, 1 fourth and a 6th, 1 fourth, 1 fifth, and a 6th. So the guys just looked way sharper day 2 after that semifinal round. But yeah, so Spencer had a great finish at the conference. I think he was the 3 seed or 4 seed, finishing third, beating Army in qualifying. So it's just a great weekend for Spencer. And it was the last match of the tournament. So it was cool seeing all the guys run down on the mat, getting the team trophy. And it was just a great weekend. Great way to end the conference tournament with a win from Spencer. So this afternoon, the wildcard bids came out. So we were hoping that we would get John Lay, Dylan Elmore, and Zion Hall had a decent shot of getting pulled in, but a lot of that was dependent on how the other ranked wrestlers in the other conferences performed. This year was really weird. I don't have everything pulled up in front of me. If you're interested, hit me up. I can give you all the numbers, or just do a little digging on Flow Wrestling. I'm sure Flow has a couple articles out there. But this year's conferences were weird. We had a lot of ranked wrestlers throughout the country who performed below their seed and therefore didn't qualify. They didn't qualify as part of their automatic bid. So that took away from those at-large bids per weight class across the country. So, when we left the tournament on Saturday before Big Tens had finished, I'm sure I think the Ivies went on Sunday also. We felt good about those 3. And then at the end of, Sunday night going into Monday, reevaluating everything, we just looked at it. It was a lot of guys just didn't perform to what on paper was expected. So there was we had to wait till this afternoon to find out if those 3 got in it, and we got John Lay in at 157 pounds. So John will get pulled into the national tournament. So that makes 5 guys going to the national tournament. And then Dylan Elmore is a first alternate at 165. So what that means is Dylan's going to go. And if for some reason somebody gets hurt, somebody gets sick, somebody breaks out in a skin funk, Dylan is the first guy at that weight to get the opportunity to take that spot. So obviously a little disappointing for Dylan. He's had a great year. We want him. We wanted him to go. Everybody was wanting him to go. I think he took 5th at EIWA's, 1 spot below his seed. Had a disappointing. Was that a semifinal match or quarter? It might have been his quarterfinal match against Drexel, to an opponent he's beaten in the past. Had other guys in his weight class wrestled to their seed in their other conferences. I think he would have been a pretty easy person to snag in, but he just fell out in that alternate position. But he'll get to go and be part of the experience regardless. And, excited to get him back next year for another 2 years. Dylan's been phenomenal for us at 165 pounds. So that's my quick and flashy recap of EIWAs. It was a great way to bounce back from the Army duel. A lot of the guys showed some serious resiliency in that day too, after a kind of disappointing semifinal round. And then just beating Army. Like it was great to see all the guys on the team who were not participating in the tournament show up and be part of the experience. They were the most lively group in the crowd. They would follow the guys from mat to mat, and it just made the event a little, way more special. Like we were the only team that had a fan section with a lot of the student body and other athletes, members of the team there to show support. So that's kind of a testament to how close these guys are, and that we're building something special, and, very privileged, very lucky to be a part of that. And thank you guys for tuning in. But today we are going to talk to Andrew Binni, who had a great weekend, taking second at conference, and he's been Mr. Consistent all year, and he's had a great freshman year, and qualifying as a freshman to go to the national tournament, that's a big deal. Andrew's a pretty quiet kid. He's a humble guy. He's not gonna like talking a lot about himself, and he's gonna keep it really brief with his answers. I know that, but he's a great kid. He's a hard worker, and loves wrestling. So excited for you guys to hear and learn a little bit about Andrew Binni.
There you go, finish it. There you go, that's 3. Good job. There you go. Get the ball. Get it, Binni. He's on there, look. Good job, Binni.
All right, what is going on, Andrew Binni? You look like you're at somebody's house right now.
Yeah, I'm at Gage Sponsors.
Nice. And they're not even home, are they?
No, they're home. They're downstairs. I'm upstairs and almost like their attic almost.
And Gage is downstairs too.
Yeah, Gage is downstairs.
Yeah. Okay, that's funny. I think he told me during winter break, one of the breaks recently, he was over there and they weren't even home. He was just
they weren't home for winter break. We had the place to ourselves.
That's funny. They must be good people.
They are. Yeah, they're really good.
So man, lots to talk about. Obviously you had a really good tournament over the weekend at conference. But as I was like, before I asked you to talk tonight, like I really, you and I, like I don't know, not a lot of people know a lot about you, like you're a plebe. And I feel like, yeah, we've got plenty of time to get to know you over the next 4 years or whatever, 3.5 years now. But, it's easy to get lost in the shadows of, like Wask and, guys that are higher up in the rankings. But you've just been Mr. Consistent this year, as far as like, like I everybody knows what to expect when you go out there. You're going to go out there and do your best. You're probably going to get a bunch of takedowns, go for some suck back, get some turns, and bonus point Binni out there. And you've had a really good year. Like I don't even know what your record is, but you've had a really consistent year. Like what is your record right now?
I think it's 17-9 or something like that.
Yeah, like that's really good for a freshman. And then obviously qualifying for the national tournament. So like that's a huge deal, man. Like you're setting the precedent now, and you're on track to like be a 4-time national qualifier. And there's a very small percentage of people that can say that. Obviously you've got higher goals, but that in itself is a pretty great achievement. So yeah, like what did you think of this past weekend? And yeah, maybe talk a little bit about some of the stuff that you went through over the weekend at American University.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, going into the weekend, like I wasn't really thinking about, like I was just kind of going match by match, like one match at a time, 0-0 every single match, just going out there and thinking about scoring the most points, scoring the next points, and lighting the scoreboard up. And I did a pretty good job of that in the first 2 matches.
Yeah.
I knew if I did that, that winning would take care of itself. It's how I've always kind of wrestled. So yeah.
I noticed more recently, like after you win, or it doesn't seem like the moment, like you get caught up in the moment too much. Like after you won in the semifinals, you obviously like you qualified. You knew that you qualified for nationals at that point, but you just like got up and went to the center, shook the guy's hand like it was nothing. Have you always been like that, or did you not realize like that you had made the finals and qualified at the weight?
Yeah, I mean, it's something I'm trying to do more of. When I had big wins in high school, I would celebrate, hit a cool celebration or something. But I'm kind of more just, trying to be like I've been there before, like not let like you said, like not let the moment get to me. Kind of just like, I expected to go out there and win. I expected to go out there and put up bonus points. So when I win, it's not a surprise. I don't feel the need to celebrate like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it just looks like you were just super poised. Like I guess that's the best way of putting it, is like you were just super poised the entire weekend. You didn't look nervous at all. Like even going into the finals match, Seymour, who you saw, like had a really good match with earlier in the year. Obviously, it didn't go as well as you wanted to both times, but you got the last point, you got the last takedown. And I think that says a lot about the way that you wrestle, and you're just always in the match. There really wasn't a point where it looked like you had surrendered the outcome or surrendered defeat to Seymour out there. So these are just a couple chopped up edits of your takedowns and some of the things you did this weekend. And you just looked really sharp, dude. It looked like you were a veteran, not a freshman out there.
Thank you.
So you beat the Binghamton dude 16-0, and then the Drexel guy was actually ranked ahead of you, and you beat him 11-3.
Yeah.
Was EIWA's kind of like what you expected it, or was it just another tournament? Like, what was that like for you? As a freshman, was it your expectation and goal to go out there at the beginning of the season? Is it what it felt like, or no?
I thought it would. I didn't feel too much pressure, which I thought like going into the year I thought it would be. It really was just like another tournament, another gymnasium. Like I've done this a million times. I've done it in front of bigger crowds before, so like
Yeah.
I wasn't phased when like even with the loudspeaker and like the guy and everything like that. It didn't really phase me. Like I've experienced all of that before,
Yeah.
in high school. So it didn't phase me at all. It was about what I expected.
So let's go back a little bit. You said you didn't feel any pressure. Have you felt pressure before, or have you been able to figure out something in your training or in your preparation where it's like, no, like this is a sport, I'm just out here to have fun type thing?
Yeah, I've felt pressure before. I felt it at the beginning of the season a little bit. Trying to go out there and win. For the team. I mean, this is not my high school versus some, you know, not great team that I know we're gonna win.
Yeah.
Every point counts. Every match counts and matters. But after I started, I'd say around Christmas, going into the scuffle, I kind of just started to like wrestle more free and just be like, I'm going out there to score as many points as possible and have fun because it is a sport. I do it for fun. I do it because I enjoy it. So yeah, I definitely I started to hit my. That's when I started to hit my stride, and I think it was a good change for me.
What has it been like as a plebe for you? I'm not just saying like on the mat, like as part of the wrestling team, but like what has your plebe experience been? So like how has it been so far?
It's been good. It's been, some things I expected, some things I didn't. There's been ups and downs. School's a lot harder. The wrestling's obviously a lot harder. You know, but I mean, it's all things that just like life, things get harder as you get older, and you just gotta embrace the challenges that come with it. And I feel like I've done a good job of that. I feel like I could, continue to improve in all areas, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. But yeah, I mean, it's been a good experience. Definitely glad I came here. Definitely glad I get to go through it. It builds character in my opinion, and I'm going to be better for it at the end of the day.
Do you feel like naps kind of prepared you for it, or like not as much as you were hoping?
I think it did, at least for the military stuff. Plebe summer, I didn't really phase me at all. I had more fun in plebe summer than I did it in docket naps. So I think it was a good year for me. I needed a year to like, kind of like figure out the military stuff, figure out some school stuff, and the wrestling too. Coach Kreiser, he's now at Brown, but he was up. He was my coach there, and he was a good coach. And so I needed that year to like live on my own a little bit before I came here, and I'm glad I went. I think it did help me out a lot.
Yeah, I think everybody I've talked to said the same thing. I was not a napster, but I was fortunate enough to have a fifth year, and I always tell people like if you have a chance to have an extra year before, like especially away from the house before coming, like I can't imagine going straight in. Like
Yeah, no, I can't either. I have like company mates that do it, and I'm like, man, you guys are way ahead of what I was.
yeah, like seriously life changing stuff, significantly life changing stuff, and yeah, man, I feel like you've acclimated pretty quickly to the pace of the college demands. Like physically. In practice, obviously in competition, you're having, like I said, we talked about a very consistent, great year. In the weight room, like with your diet, you've been very, very disciplined with your weight management. I know that was something like you might have been a little bit nervous about at the beginning of the year, but like I said, you've been super consistent, and it's paid off. You've made a lot of sacrifices this year to get where you are, and you're not done, and I know you're not done.
Yep.
But I think a lot of people are proud of the stuff that you've done so far, and you should be too.
Yeah.
So are you the first person in your family to go to the Naval Academy or be in the military?
Yeah, first one in the military.
Really?
First like direct. My grandfather served 5 years in the reserves of the Air Force. I had some family members in like World War II, but like as far as like recent, I'm the first.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so how'd you get introduced to USNA?
I was recruited by Coach Colette at the time, Coach Evans, Coach Neff, and obviously Coach Cabell as well. And that was my first introduction. I didn't know anything about the Naval Academy or any of the academies, or military wasn't at the forefront of my mind. It was just my junior year. I was I had a I didn't have a great sophomore year, and I was like, I want to be my lifelong goal was I want to be a Division I wrestler, Division I national champ. So I put in the work my junior year, started getting noticed, and Coach Cole, I was one of the first college coaches to reach out to me, and so I was like, this is interesting. Military career, I think would be pretty cool. So let's finish the year out and take visits. So I took an unofficial and I took an official here. And then after my official, I still wasn't 100% sure. But then after thinking about it, after talking to Coach Colat and all the other coaches, it was like this is the place that feels most close to home for me, and the place that I feel like I can succeed the most. And so that's why I committed here.
That's awesome. What were some of the other schools that you were looking at or that were talking to you?
Yeah, my top 5 came down to Navy, Pitt, because I'm from there, West Virginia, Appalachian State, and Cornell University.
Oh, wow. Okay. So what was the biggest difference? Like, you said it felt closest to home, but like what specifically about Navy? Because Navy's the only service academy in that group. It's not very much like the other schools. So what about it, without any sort of like prior military experience or exposure, like what was it that intrigued you, I guess?
I think it was the structure and the discipline of this place.
Mm-hmm.
And also the almost like the want to achieve a common goal. Like I felt that here. That was one of my things in high school was like, you get on a high school team, not everybody's trying to be a state champ, not everybody's trying to go Division I. And so it can be hard to find motivation in the room, but at Navy, there's no shortage of motivation. Everybody there is pretty much trying to be a national champion. And even at other schools I went to, it was also the kind of person. Like I saw the midshipmen walking around on the yard when I was here, and just perfect uniform, look like they have a goal, like they know what they're set on doing. Other colleges, you get some of that, but you don't get nearly as much. And as far as your day is structured, I get up at a set time every single day. I know what I'm going to be training. I know when I'm going to be doing schoolwork. I know what I'm going to be eating. I know when I'm going to be sleeping. I know when I'm going to be brushing my teeth. Everything is down to an exact time. Whereas at a public university or another college, it could be different every single day, and it's hard to predict.
Were you like that in high school? You were very structured?
I tried to be, yeah. I was, because I didn't, I'm a routine guy. I like schedules. I like knowing what's going to happen, what's coming next, which obviously isn't always a gift. They're not given that in the military, obviously. But as far as the academy goes, it is pretty much how it is. And I tried to be in high school. Now, I wasn't always. Some days were different, but yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's mature of you, and I like asking people that question. Like, how did you find the Naval Academy? I think, especially from people who don't have parents or grandparents or any sort of exposure from their family members to the academy, or you probably didn't even know what the Naval Academy was.
No, I had no idea. I didn't know it was a place. I didn't know anything about it.
I a couple weeks ago, I talked to Zion on here, and I asked him the same question. It was he had a crazy story. It's just by situation, happenstance that So your story's a little similar to that, but he had never heard of the Naval Academy. He had never thought of the military at all. So I like asking people that question, and it's kind of cool to see you're from PA. We've got a couple other PA guys on the team, a lot of New Jerseys, Georgia, Louisiana. We got people from almost every corner of the country and how they find themselves here. And like you said, all working towards that same goal is really what I agree. I share that same sentiment. That's really what makes this place special is the people and how alike we all are, but from different places and perspectives.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of like-minded people. Well, man. Okay. Cleveland. What's going down in Cleveland?
Yeah, so get to go to the NCAA championships for the first time as a competitor. I went to watch in 2019 in Pittsburgh. So
Ah,
it's a special year because Cleveland's not too far from home, but I just remember being in the stands. That was like almost when I like back in Pittsburgh in 2019 at like I don't know session 4, whatever the semis and blood round session is. I just remember watching like the match I remember watching was RBY Mickey Philippi in the blood round, and I was just like, man, I'm meant to be here. And so to get to go to Cleveland and compete, especially as a freshman, is really cool. But obviously my goal was to be a national champion. It wasn't to qualify. So, but I'm excited. I'm going in there. I don't care what my seat is. I don't care what anybody else's seat is. Everybody. I was talking to Danny Wask today, and he's like, everybody's 0-0. There's no records going into the tournament. So, and I think that is true. And it's a good way to look at it. So I'm excited. I'm going in to just score as many points as possible, and if I do that, I know winning will take care of itself, and it'll be a good time.
yeah, well, it is a good time. Yeah, I think you got the right mindset going into it, and talking to Danny is wise as well. Obviously this is his third time going. He spent a lot of time. He spent all 3 days on the floor there last year, and some of the things that I was talking to him about last week, and then even this morning, was like, you got to start visualizing like what that feeling was in the tunnel. Like you hear your name on the on the intercom, on the speaker. You hear the crowd, you hear like those things that you're visualizing. Take yourself back to 2019. You're watching that blood round. Like, what was that like? What did that feel like for you? What did it feel like when you're on the podium and you're looking up and you see 7 other guys next to you? Like, those are things he's got to start recreating and visualizing. So it's not, and for you've got to visualize it so it's not your first time feeling it. But like you said, like, you've been poised and disciplined this whole year, and even at conference, you didn't feel pressure, and that's how you should feel, man. Like, you have goals, but what are your expectations, right? Like, you don't know what to expect. You're out there to do your best, score points, and try to chase after the goal. You shouldn't have this unnecessary pressure to do well, because like you said, the winning stuff will take care of itself. So that's awesome, man. I'm excited for you, and it is going to be fun. And what's even more fun, man, is like we get to do this with you for another 3 years.
Yep.
The fact that we've got you, Caden, and Spencer, all freshmen, and hit that automatic qualification to go to Cleveland is freaking huge. We've got 3 guys coming back next year with some national championship experience for another 3 years. So I know it's not time to start thinking about next year, but as an old guy and as a guy who gets to hang out with you guys on the regular, like, that gets me excited. And it gives me something to talk about to everybody when I'm sending out all my emails.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, are your folks going to be able to make it?
Yeah, my dad will be there for sure. I'm pretty sure my mom will be too. So they're super excited. I was talking to my dad about it. Like, he's like, yeah, it's gonna be like NCAAs, but it's gonna be a little bit more special for me. So I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool that you get to I guess watch your son on the NCAA mats when literally the last 10 years we've been watching it. I made a joke to him because my family, we do, I don't know if you've ever played like Mat Madness, where like we go through each bracket and whoever's playing picks like 2 guys. And I told him I can't do that this year because I'd be illegally gambling.
Yep, can't get involved, Dad. Loretta will get me.
Yeah, exactly. So, I told them they can play. They just can't pick. They just can't go through 125. Just play with 9 weights.
There you go. Or just pick you.
Or just pick me. Yeah.
Well, my money's on you, buddy. If I was gambling. All right, man. Well, I appreciate the time. That was a quick one. I like I said, like, haven't done one of these with you yet. We got plenty of time to hit a bunch more, but I'm excited, dude. It's gonna be a good weekend next weekend in Cleveland. It's gonna be a great experience. It's gonna be fun. See all the fans. Gonna wrestle the best dudes in the country and go after those goals, right?
Absolutely. Super excited. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, buddy. I will see you later.
Sounds good.